The sun was dipping low over the Arizona desert, painting the sky in streaks of orange and purple. Elena gripped the steering wheel of her old Jeep, the tires humming against the cracked asphalt of Route 89. She'd spent the day snapping photos of abandoned copper mines in a ghost town called Jericho, chasing that perfect shot of decay and beauty. At 28, photography was her escape, especially after her messy breakup with Alex 3 months ago. Maybe he was right, but out here in the vast emptiness, she felt free. Up ahead, a flickering neon sign announced Cactus Joe's Diner, last stop for miles. The place looked like it hadn't changed since the 70s. Faded paint, a few rusted trucks parked outside, and the faint smell of grease wafting through the air. Inside, the diner was quiet. A couple of locals nursed coffees at the counter, and behind it stood an older woman with silver-streaked hair tied back in a ponytail. "What'll it be, hun?" she asked, her voice gravelly from years of desert winds. "Just a black coffee to go," Elena said, sliding onto a stool. She pulled out her camera, flipping through the day's shots, twisted metal beams against endless sand dunes. "Nah, just passing through." Her name tag read Rita. And full of stories, too. Ghost riders? Some say they're spirits of old miners, others think they're just bad folks using the legend as cover. Either way, if you see someone in trouble out there, think twice before stopping. Elena laughed it off. "I'll keep that in mind, thanks for the coffee." She paid and headed out, the bell jingling behind her. Back in the Jeep, she sipped the hot brew, the caffeine kicking in as she merged onto the highway. The desert stretched out like an ocean of sand, dotted with saguaro cacti standing like silent sentinels. A few miles down, her headlights caught something odd. A pickup truck pulled over on the shoulder, hood up, hazard lights flashing weakly. A man stood beside it, waving his arms. He looked harmless enough, mid-30s, wearing a faded flannel shirt and jeans, his face etched with frustration. Elena's mind flashed to Rita's warning, but then to her own regrets. Last year, she'd ignored a call from a friend in crisis, and it ended badly. She couldn't do that again. Pulling over, she rolled down her window. "Everything okay?" The man approached, relief washing over his face. "Thank goodness. Name's Jack. Engine overheated. Think it's the radiator. You got any water or a phone signal?" "Mine's dead." She stepped out, grabbing a bottle from her trunk. Jack took the bottle, pouring it into the radiator. "You're a lifesaver. Out here alone?" As he worked, she noticed fresh footprints trailing off into the sand, not matching the tire tracks. Odd. And the truck's engine didn't feel hot to the touch. Before she could question it, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Don't trust the stranded. Get out now." Her heart skipped. She glanced at Jack, who was watching her with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Something wrong?" She edged toward her Jeep, but he moved quicker, blocking her path. In his hand, a knife glinted under the headlights. "Easy now," he said, his voice dropping the friendly act. "Hand over the keys in your bag. No one has to get hurt." Panic surged through Elena. She swung her camera bag at him, catching him off guard, and bolted into the dunes. Her breath came in gasps as she hid behind a cactus, heart pounding. But then, engines roared in the distance. Not one, but several, headlights piercing the night like predators' eyes. What had she walked into? Chapter 2. Chased by the mirage. Elena crouched low in the sand, the coarse grains biting into her knees. Her mind raced. The text, Jack's knife, and now these approaching lights. She peeked over the dune. 2 more vehicles pulled up beside the pickup, doors slamming as figures emerged. They weren't ghosts, but they might as well be. Rough-looking men scanning the area with flashlights. "She's gotta be close," Jack muttered, rubbing his jaw where her bag had hit him. "Spread out." Elena's pulse thundered. She needed help. Creeping back toward the road, she spotted a pair of headlights in the distance, an SUV approaching fast. Waving frantically, she stepped into the beam. The SUV slowed, pulling over. A window rolled down, revealing a couple in their 40s, the man behind the wheel with a beard and sunglasses, the woman beside him with a map in hand. "You okay?" the man asked, his voice cautious. No, that guy tried to rob me. Please, I need a ride. Elena gasped, glancing back at the dunes. Elena climbed into the back, locking the door as Mark hit the gas. Elena explained quickly: the stalled truck, Jack's betrayal, the warning text. Mark glanced in the rear view. Sounds like those smuggling rings I've heard about. Mark's into treasure hunting. Why were they so calm? As they drove, Mark suggested towing her Jeep. They hooked it up at a turnout, the process tense under the stars. Elena's phone buzzed again. They're closer than you think. Unknown sender. At an abandoned motel a few miles on, its sign reading Mirage Inn half buried in sand, they stopped for the night. Safer than the road, Mark said. Inside a dusty room, Elena tried to relax, but noises echoed. Footsteps outside, whispers. She checked her camera. One photo from earlier showed faint figures in the dunes near Jack's truck. Lisa brewed instant coffee. You photograph ruins? Ever find anything? A knock at the door. Mark opened it. Rita from the diner stood there, badge gleaming. Relief flooded Elena, but then shouts erupted outside. Jack and his crew ambushing. Mark grabbed a crowbar. Stay back! Chaos. Fights in the lot. Elena using her camera flash to blind an attacker. Mark froze. I needed the money for our hunts. They piled in, speeding off. But a massive rig appeared in the mirrors, barreling toward them. Its horn blared like a beast, ramming their rear. The SUV lay on its side, sand drifting in through cracked windows. Mark groaned nearby, blood on his forehead. Lisa was gone, door ajar, footprints leading away. Lisa? Elena whispered, shaking Mark. Her mind pieced it. The smugglers wanted Mark's maps to a hidden artifact cache. Jack's crew wasn't just robbers. They traded ancient relics on the black market. And the Ghost Riders legend? A scare tactic to keep nosy travelers away. Elena grabbed her camera and phone, signal weak, but she texted Rita. Crash site. Need help. Venturing out, she followed the tracks into the dunes. Winds whipped up, a sandstorm brewing. Up ahead, an old mine entrance. The cache, probably. Voices echoed. The ringleader, Vance, a burly man with a scarred face, barking orders. Tie her up, the girl's photos could expose us. Elena snuck closer, heart racing. Jack stood guard, knife in hand, but his eyes darted nervously, not the cold criminal from before. A plan formed. Using the storm's cover, she yelled, Ghost Riders are coming, playing on Vance's superstition, mentioned in Rita's stories. Panic rippled. Vance spun, gun drawn. What was that? As the sand howled, she circled back, freeing Lisa, but Vance caught her. You should have stayed away. Struggle ensued. Elena kicked free, grabbing his gun. Jack intervened. Enough, Vance. I didn't sign up for murder. Twist. Jack turned, tackling Vance. Gunfire echoed, but in the confusion, Elena and Lisa escaped with Mark, whom they'd dragged along. Sirens wailed. Rita arrived with backup, arresting the crew. Jack surrendered, his coercion story checking out. He'd get a lighter sentence. I thought helping was always right, she told Rita. But out there, instincts save lives. Rita nodded. The desert teaches that. Your photos helped bust the ring. Real heroes capture truth. Elena drove home under clear skies, a new photo on her dash. Storm over the dunes, symbolizing survival. She'd trust herself more now, but the road shadows lingered.